again. Well, I am. Ray's over at his place. What we kind of decided with this heat and all this craziness is we're going to try to throw down as much content as we can, but at the same time, we got to keep our physical, health in mind. He was nowhere near here today. He had to do a call out by his place. I was like, dude, let's go to the house and chill. No need for you to come all the way out here and sweat your tail off and all that fun stuff. I'm just going to be under here messing around. But I figured, I'm under here, I might as well show you what we're doing. So these fancy little gizmos that Ray made. It's just, got a screw there that Ray recessed in there. 1/4-20 tapped. That's going to clamp onto 2 lines, which are those 2 PTFE fuel lines right there. I just need something to hold them together so they don't, flop all over the place. That's where this little guy comes in. He'll clamp and hold them steady. The other part of this, you can see this little brake line right there and right there. I need to clamp that to the steel fuel lines. Or all the way back there somewhere. And those get these little guys. So the reason we're doing that is you don't want your brake lines rattling and rubbing on stuff. And I've already done I guess you call it the front half. So I'll show you that real fast. So this is the front line, or excuse me, rear line, front of the rear line. Right there, fancy little bent bracket. I happen to find hanging around. I happen to find that hanging around. Put a 3/16 Odell on it. So coming from the master, comes down here, boink. One's here over this, and give it a good flick, and it doesn't really hit anything. Now, granted, if you watch, this line's moving too. So if we can get that solid, we'll solid that up, and then all the way down there to where the fuel line ends. So let's say I don't want brake lines rubbing on stuff. I can't deal with that. So we don't want them rubbing, we don't want them hitting, and it helps keep them, safe. So I'm going to run that all the way most of the way to the back anyway, or at least it looks like where the cage starts. I'll run these clippy thing or line clampy things, and yeah. But the brake line is only held, up to here, so to speak, just because we didn't have any clamps. But now we do. So the other thing while I'm under here, I got to tighten up all the fuel line connections because we got in here. I got this godforsaken transfer case in here again. The O2 bung, we got to get that drilled and welded in. I also screwed up the driver's side exhaust system here, where the 2 mufflers come out next to each other. The driver's side pushed the muffler way too far towards the center of the truck, and I'd about put money on it that if we flex out any sort of which way, we're going to smack the drive shaft right into the muffler, and I can only imagine how bad that's going to squeal and what kind of damage it's going to do. I don't think it's not going to hurt the drive shaft. It'll probably crush the muffler or tear it all up or crack a header, who knows. So we're not going to take that risk. I got to redo all that, which I'm going to try to do it today. I don't know. We'll see. If I get the O2 thing done, I'll work on that. But yeah, I guess I'm going to start clamping stuff. I don't know. Much more solid. Oh yeah. Last one, I'm gonna put right about here. So yeah, just those 4 clamps there. Tightened everything up real solid. It's all, not moving. which is what we needed. So that at least got us back to where the cage begins, back of the cab. So yay on that. I'll have to, I guess you could say, figure out another solution from the cage back to hold those things in place, to hold that line in place. I've also got to secure the wires that run to the back too, but I suppose I'll get to that. I suppose now that that's done, you get to crawl out of the shade and go into the sun and install an O2 sensor bung. Alright, now the part that I really wasn't looking forward to. Mainly, I can't find my drill to save my life. Don't know where it went. You got the crazy Dremel though. So I'm basically going to do is carve a hole in this pipe here, about the size of the bung, drop it in, give it a weld. And this here is the exact reason why I'm not looking forward to this. Black shirt, gloves, a nice bright sun beating down on me on a 90+ degree day. Ooh. I'm gonna let that cool a minute. I had to take a quick break, go inside and get something to drink. Man, wearing the welding jacket and the gloves and everything, I started just drenched. I figured go hydrate right quick. Yeah, that's welded. I'll let it cool, bolt it up, send the sensor in there, make sure we're not going to hit anything. If it did my measurements right, we should be good. I hope we're good. I'm not in the mood to cut that out and redo it. Find out in a minute. Get you a good view here, maybe. Wham. Go around. I know glare and stuff is not the greatest, but yeah, that's in. So the next item on the agenda, let's see if I can get a view of it. Okay, so output yoke of the transfer case. I'm trying to line you up with it right there. Cool. And you see where the yoke is for the rear end. Draw you kind of an imaginary line, and that muffler there is kicked way off this way. So what we're probably going to do is cut it, move it back here somewhere. All right. And then just throw the tailpipe out. What's that, like 8 inches or whatever? And do that. So I've already kind of measured it. What I did was I took this pipe off, turned it around, moved the mufflers around and everything, or the muffler around. If we move it one muffler length back and then put the weed burner on it, which is just a turn down, 45 degree turn down, that should move it over enough to where we shouldn't have an interference issue. Shouldn't. I think I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna cut this up and get it moved and hopefully kind of finish this exhaust up today. Well, except for the hangers. I'm still going back and forth what I want to do with that. Yeah, I think I'm going to measure and cut some pipe. All right, get that pipe out. Okay, about yay much off, 12.5 inch. That's the length of the dense part of the muffler body, because they're right next to each other now. 12.5 inch, move it back, slight angle to it, and we'll go from there. I think this will work though. Well, I hope it does. Everything we measured out though, it should. That'd be nice if that stuff came over this way. Then make parts.
been about an hour, hour and a half. I'm fighting and arguing and getting the right lengths and all that fun stuff, and I realized I need to make a relief cut, bend the pipe a little bit. I think we're finally ready to burn this thing together and bolt it on. I hope. Okay, so after a couple hours of sweating, grinding, cutting, welding, and a weird 5-minute rainstorm, I think we got this thing. Ugh. Start there, go around, and yoink. I had to put call it a pie cut there if you want. Staggered. Mucho more room for drive shaft stuff. So you remember right, this muffler was like way over here somewhere. So we cleared up almost 6 inches over here on the backside. And let's see, kind of getting you a comparison. The end of the yoke is right there. By the time you put a U-joint and all that fun stuff, probably out more a couple inches, and yeah, it's only about that far from the end where it starts curving in. So yeah, I'd call that a victory for sure. I'll throw a picture up of what it used to look like from about this perspective right here. So yay. I just gotta put hangers on these things, take them down one more time, put hangers on them. That's it. So I guess I'm just going to call it for the day, probably. It's almost 4:30, I think it is, so I'm pretty much done. Yay. But this is definitely, you know, a step in the right direction to turn the key and hearing this thing roar. Alright. So it's Thursday. Didn't make it over here yesterday. It was just hot. Still is. A little better today. Yeah, the sun's out, but slightly. It's a little bit cooler. Intermittent cloud coverage. What we got to do today is the cables need to be rewrapped on these trucks. It happens from time to time. It has to be done. Yep. This one especially, when you're picking up light stuff, these cables go all to hell. It's like rebar. Yeah, this stuff's so thick, and honestly, unless you have a good 5,000 to 6,000 pounds on these cables, they wind all stupid. So it will take a 12,000 pound flatbed to hook to it and wind them in, and then we're gonna hook the flatbed to this truck and wind that one in, because that one's kind of all over the place too. It's not as bad, but it's bad. Yeah, so that's something we got to do with steel cables. You got to make sure they stay wrapped. I mean, that's about one of the only advantages I can think of a synthetic is it can cross wrap and it doesn't care. So the steel ones do care, so we're gonna address that right quick. That's what it should look like. Now we gotta do the 12 ton. As soon as we get done doing that, the freaking clouds start to show up. Just our luck. Alright, so we're gonna call it the end of the day. We got the winches rewrapped, which was the main goal. Else than that, I mean, the lathe mill over there, someone got it extremely dirty and hasn't cleaned it in like 6 months. It's been a month. I need a river. God. But they had to get a deep clean. Parts. Well, they had to get a deep clean, so we went ahead and did that. Which kind of boring. Then I weed whacked a little bit. We're working on Ray's truck here, which
fighting and arguing with it, and I'm still not quite certain.
Wah, wah, wah. We're just gonna wrap it up for the day. It's probably gonna start raining here soon anyway, so we may be back at it tomorrow. Not sure yet. I'm not 100% sure. We have in store. The other wrecker, I did finally get to fire it up for about 20 minutes today. That was a plus. Haven't done that in a while. Fired right up. Still sounds healthy. Oh, and our little bird friends, they did grow and fly the coop.
Yep,
They're gone.
They vacated the AO.
Yep. So that was good.
We don't have to worry about hurting any little baby birds.
Yep. So we just got to clean the nest out now, but is what it is. So anyway, hopefully we're back tomorrow. If not Saturday, we'll figure something out. Yay. Alright, so it is Sunday. It's another beautiful 100-degree day here in the Carolinas. Why am I not, at the house in the little area editing a video? Well, I was doing that earlier. However, last night, I had to go get a Chevy 2500 with a trailer. No big deal. I'm on my way to it, and I could smell something. It almost smelled like brakes. Brakes weren't hanging up. I mean, you can feel that if you pay attention. Brakes weren't hanging up. Parking brake was fully off. Huh, that's weird. I'm gonna do this Jeep. Smelled the same thing. I was like, something's wrong here. I couldn't put my finger on what it was. Today's plan anyway was to change the thermostat out in this truck. I was hoping to make it back to the house. As you can see, we're not at the house. We're at an undisclosed location, so to speak. However, just to give you some context where we're at, whoever put those sea cans in there did a real good job. ... So anyway, so I dropped this Jeep, heading towards the house, like yay. I finally go home, get some calories, chill out in the AC for a little bit. But unfortunately, Cranky over here had a different idea of that. So I noticed when I was dropping the Jeep, I heard a weird sound. I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, man, something's off. It's like, man, let's just get to the house. If I at least get there, I do the thermostat, I can investigate everything else and go from there. Cool. Well, I think I got 4 miles from the customer's house and I heard this weird, like this weird squealing sound. What the flying hell is that? Push clutch in, didn't change. Like, okay, it's on the drivetrain, cool. Or in the trans. It's not consistent with tire speed. And then it just stopped out of nowhere. I know what that was. It was a serpentine belt. Sure enough, the AC compressor on the truck locked up. I mean, this thing's moving. But that explains the smell and everything else. So, I made it over here to my buddy's shop. It's almost like, hey, I'm like a half mile from your place. Like, I pulled over, shut down for about an hour. Got the temp down about 160. About, I'd say half mile later, when I pulled into here, I was already at 180. There's no way I was making it 5 miles back to the house without hurting this engine. So here I wait. I'm in the middle of doing the thermostat right now. Ray is actually going to be on his way here shortly with a compressor and a belt. So yeah, that's how our freaking weekend's gone. And only that with the thermostat, I'm putting in a 180, I think it is, or 185, as opposed to the factory 195. Keeps the engine a couple degrees cooler. When you got to pull a big hill with a heavy load, it gives that extra little leeway so it doesn't get too hot. So, and I'm pretty sure this one's sticking to begin with. Actually, I know it is. So, we already got most of the coolant drained. So I need to drain anyway. About to pop the housing off, start cleaning it, and go from there. So yeah, I'll throw a picture or two up here in a second, and we'll go from there. Yay. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this here is the culprit of most of my recent grief. With the heat on this truck, I think I put this thing in like 6 years ago, maybe even 7. So okay, whatever. It's like a $40, $50 thing, no big deal. However, something with these to keep in mind. Yes, this is a 7.3. However, it is not a Ford engine. It is an International. Now granted, International built the 7.3s for Ford. Cool. Water pumps are totally different. Put a water pump on a 7.3, it's actually not that bad. This one here, it is a big, humongous unit. It's totally different, takes a different thermostat. So you really don't want to run a 7.3 Power Stroke thermostat in what's International calls a T444E. It's just different. But, I got you here, I'll show you something kind of cool. So, between this engine and the Ford, once again, the water pump's totally different. I know I can't really get in here. So, you notice there's no power steering pump on this side. Well, believe you me, it has power steering, but on these engines, that's your power steering pump way down in there. Follow the line. Yoink, goes down here. Into the bottom of this ginormous gearbox. The other difference, this truck's a 95, 96. A lot of pipey things going on. This one is actually intercooled. If you see it, like here's a charge air pipe here, one on the bottom. So yeah, visually there's a couple of minor differences that can, tell you what it is. Not only that, this water pump here has a coolant filter on it, just rather interesting. But I know the programming is different from the Power Stroke. The turbo is way different. I mean, this engine, supposedly, I've never tried it, but max RPM is about 2,600, as where a Ford is, I think, 33 or 3,400. Cam is different, injectors are a bit different. The turbo lights right off the bottom on this thing, it's crazy. Yeah, higher powered injectors. There was something else that was different, but I can't remember right now because I'm baking my brain in the sun. But yeah, I think I'll throw this new thermostat in right quick, wait for Ray to get here and get her going again. Just when you think you're having a relaxing day, right? What's going on, everyone? It is Monday. Well, wrapping this video up. It's been a crazy week. So you know, some Ray showed up to bring parts as well. That's where that segment ended because when he showed up with a compressor, it was the wrong one. The guy at the parts store the weekend crew didn't pay attention. Just grab a compressor. Here you go. Totally wrong one. Now, the truck the 12 ton right now is about 6 miles from me. Ray drove about 15 miles from his place to here, and then another 4 or 5 miles to the truck. So about 20 miles total to bring that compressor. It's the wrong one. I absolutely lost my bacon. Made things even worse. Later that night, he brought the right compressor out. We even have him send pictures to make sure, because if not, I was going to go nuts. So we get the right compressor in, bolt it on in like 5 minutes. No big deal. Cool, let's sling a belt on it. I measured the belt that broke off of it. The belt we were going to put on was actually a little bit longer. We go put the new belt on, and it is about 2.5 to 3 inches too short. At this point, my hands are in the air. I'm done. I'm freaking done with this week. So we get the right belt showing up here in about an hour, hopefully. Get that truck back online and go from there. Ray's been out working. He's done, I think, 3 so far today. It's just been crazy. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to wrap this one up. That was a quick explanation of why I just, because like I said, I spazzed. I'd had enough. So new subscribers and everything, I see you guys. We appreciate everyone watching for sure. Like, share, subscribe, leave some comments down there. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, whack that notification bell. Ding, ding, ding. You ain't heard nothing, just hit it. Hopefully we'll see you guys at the end of this week. We'll see what happens. Hopefully nothing crazy goes on. But y'all take care. Stay safe.